Hello friends, we were discussing about change in profit sharing ratio, and in that we were discussing about the accounting treatment of goodwill, right? Because the gaining partner has to pay some compensation to the sacrificing partner because of the loss in share of profit. That compensation is known as goodwill, right? And we have discussed the accounting treatment of goodwill, that the gaining partner who is to pay compensation, his account will be debited, and the sacrificing partner who will be getting the compensation, his account will be credited. Now let's see a few practical problems on this. See the first practical problem. Sohan and Ram are partners sharing profits and losses in the ratio of 3:1, right? The capitals were 60,000 and 40,000 respectively. As from 1st April 2016, it was agreed to change the profit sharing ratio to 3:2. According to the partnership deed, the goodwill is to be valued at 3 years purchase of the average of the 5 years profits. The profits of the previous 5 years were 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 and 70,000. Pass necessary journal entry to give effect to the above arrangement. So what we will do is, we will first calculate goodwill. We have average profits of the last 5 years, and we are given that goodwill is to be valued at 3 years purchase, right? So we can easily calculate. First of all, we'll calculate goodwill. First of all, we'll say calculation of goodwill. Right? We have average profits. What are the average profits given? Average profits given for the 5 years are 30,000 plus 40,000 plus 50,000 plus 60,000 plus 70,000. So these are the last 5 years profits. What will be the average profits? This comes to 2,50,000 divided by 5. So the average profits are rupees 50,000. Now, what will be goodwill? Goodwill is average profits into number of years purchase, 3. So goodwill comes to rupees 1,50,000. Clear? Now we will calculate the sacrificing or the gaining share, because earlier they were sharing profits in the ratio of 3:1, and now they are going to share profits in the ratio of 3:2. Next we have calculation of sacrifice or gain, right? Now first of all, Sohan, earlier his share was, they were sharing profits in the ratio of 3:1, so his share was 3/4. Now his share is going to be 3/5. If I take the common denominator 20, so earlier his share was 15 and now his share is 12. That means there is a loss of share by 3. That means Sohan is sacrificing 3/20. Right? Now we will calculate for Ram. For Ram, earlier his share was 1/4. Now his share is 2/5. So earlier he was getting 5, now he is getting 8. So his gain is 3/20. So the sacrifice by Sohan is equal to gain by Ram, 3 by 20. Now what will be the amount of compensation payable? Amount of compensation payable by Ram, because Ram is the gaining partner. How much is the goodwill? See, the goodwill is 1,50,000. And how much is the gaining share? 3 by 20. Right? So, how much is the amount of goodwill? This comes to rupees 22,500. This is the amount of compensation payable by Ram to the sacrificing partner. Sohan, what will be the journal entry? Journal entry will be Ram capital account debit to Sohan capital account with 22,500. 22,500. Clear? First of all, we have calculated goodwill, right? Then we have calculated the sacrifice or the gain. Then we will calculate the amount of compensation payable by the gaining partner to the sacrificing partner and the journal entry. Clear? Let's see the next problem. Anita, Asha and Amrit are partners sharing profits in the ratio of 3:2:1 respectively. From 1st of January 2010, they decided to share profits in the ratio of 2:3:1. Right? The partnership deed provides that in the event of any change in the profit sharing ratio, the goodwill should be valued at 3 years purchase of the average profits of 5 years profit. The profits of the 5 years are 1,20,000, 3 lakh, 3,40,000, 3,80,000 and 1,40,000 loss. Right? We have to pass the journal entry. Right? Let's start. Similar question. So we'll first of all we'll calculate goodwill. Calculation of goodwill. Right? Average profits. What are the average profits given? 1,20,000, 3 lakh, 3,40,000, 1,20,000 plus 3 lakh plus 3,40,000, then 3,80,000 and a loss of 1,40,000. 3,80,000 and then a loss of 1,40,000. This divided by 5. Now this amount comes to rupees 2 lakhs. So the average profits are 2 lakhs. What is the goodwill? Goodwill is equal to average profits into number of years purchased, which is given as 3. So the goodwill is rupees 6 lakh. Right? Now second, we'll calculate calculation of sacrifice or gain. Right? First of all, I will write down all the 3 partners: Anita, Asha and Amrit. Anita, Asha and Amrit. What is their old ratio? Old ratio is 3:2:1. And what is the new ratio? New ratio is 2:3:1. Clear? Now we'll calculate the sacrifice or gain. First of all, for Anita, old share minus new share. For Anita, old share is 3/6 and new share is 2/6. So it is a sacrifice by Anita to the extent of 1/6. Earlier she was getting 3, now she is getting 2, so that is a sacrifice of 1. Let's see for Asha. Old share was 2/6 and new share is 3/6. Now she is getting more. Earlier she was getting 2 rupees, now she is getting 3 rupees, so there is a gain of 1 rupee. Right? And let's see for Amrit. Earlier the share was 1/6, now the share is 1/6. Right? No sacrifice, no gain. Right? Now the amount of goodwill will be paid by whom? Who is the gaining partner? Asha is the gaining partner. So amount of compensation will be paid by Asha to Anita. Right? No amount will be paid to Amrit because there is no sacrifice by Amrit. So the amount of compensation will only be payable to Anita and not Anita and Amrit. Right? So what will be the amount of compensation? Amount of compensation will be goodwill. Goodwill is 6 lakh into gaining share. What is the gaining share? 1/6. So the compensation payable is 1 lakh. Who will pay this compensation? Asha. Right? So the journal entry will be Asha's capital account debit, and to whom the compensation is payable? To only Anita. Amrit will not get anything because there is no sacrifice by Amrit. Please make sure this. Compensation will be payable only to the partner who is sacrificing. There is no sacrifice by Amrit. Clear? So this is how. First of all, we'll calculate goodwill, then calculation of sacrifice or the gain, right? And amount of compensation and journal entry then. The gaining partner will pay to the sacrificing partner. If there is no sacrifice by one partner, he or she will not get anything. In this case, there is no sacrifice by Amrit. So the compensation will only be payable to the sacrificing partner, that is Anita and not Amrit. Clear? So let's see the next practical problem. X, Y and Z are partners sharing profits in the ratio of 3:2:1. As from April 2016, Y decided to devote only part of time to the business and accepted to receive 1/2 of his previous share of profits. That means Y decided that he will devote only some part of his time in the business. For that, he has agreed to give up his share of profit. He has agreed to give up some part of his share of profit in favor of X and Z. The sacrificed share of Y is taken equally by X and Y. Whatever there is a sacrifice by Y, whatever the sacrifice share, that will be taken up by X and Y in the equal ratio, 1:1. For this purpose, the goodwill of the firm is valued at 3 lakh. Calculate the new profit sharing ratio and pass an adjustment entry for treatment of goodwill due to change in profit sharing ratio. Now this is a little bit of a different question. Nothing difficult in this. Now there are 3 partners, X, Y and Z. Right? They are sharing profits in the ratio of 3:2:1. So X share is 3/6, Y's share is 2 by 6 and Z's share is 1 by 6. Now, Y's sacrifice. What is the Y's sacrifice? He says that out of this share, half of share I am sacrificing. Right? This means 1/6 share he is sacrificing. Right? Now this 1/6 share will be divided among X and Y equally. X and Z, sorry. How much they will get? X will get 1/6 into 1 by 2, that is 1/12, and Z will get 1 by 6 into 1 by 2, 1/12. Because it is clearly mentioned in the question that whatever is the Y sacrifice will be taken up by X and Z equally. Now Y sacrifice is, he says I am getting 2/6 share in the profits, I sacrifice half of it. I sacrifice 1/6 share in favor of X and Z. Right? So the total sacrifice has to be equal to the total gain. Now this sacrifice, X will take up half of it and Z will take off half of it. Right? So the total gain will become 1/6 only. Now they are asking us to calculate the new profit sharing ratio. Now earlier, let's see the X share. X share was 3 by 6, and what he is getting from Y sacrifice? 1 by 12. Right? So if I take the common denominator 12, this comes to 6 plus 1, 7 by 12. What is Y's share? Y's share is 2 by 6. He has sacrificed half of it. The remaining is 1 by 6, or I can say 2 by 12. Right? What is Z's share now? Earlier the Z share was 1 by 6 and he has gained 1 by 12 from sacrifice of Y. So this will become 3 by 12. Right? So what is the new profit sharing ratio? New profit sharing ratio is 7 by 12 is to 2 by 12 and 3 by 12. That means 7 is to 2 is to 3. This is the new profit sharing ratio. And they have also asked us to pass a necessary journal entry for goodwill. Goodwill given is 3 lakhs. Goodwill given is rupees 3 lakhs. Right? Now amount of compensation. Now what will be, who are the gaining partners? X and Z. X and Z are the gaining partners. They will compensate Y for sacrificing his share in the profits by paying goodwill. Now what is the amount of goodwill? We say the amount of goodwill is value of goodwill into share gained. What is the share gained? Total share gained is 1/6 only. Right? So goodwill is 3 lakh and the total share gained is 1 by 6. So the amount of compensation payable is 50,000. Right? So this 50,000 will be shared by X and Z because there are two gaining partners now. Right? Y will get 50,000 and this 50,000 compensation is now payable by X and Z equally. So the entry will be Y's capital account debit with 50,000 because Y will get 50,000 as compensation to X capital account. What is the gaining ratio? 1:1 because they are sharing the gain equally. This is 25,000. So this was the third practical problem. It was a bit different but not difficult. We calculate the Y sacrifice. We will proceed as the question is proceeding. First of all, we calculated the Y sacrifice as Y has stated that I sacrifice half of my share in favor of X and Z, and out of that half share, half will be given to X and half will be given to Z, right? Then after that we calculated the new profit sharing ratio, adding the new share in the old share. This comes to 7:2:3. Then goodwill is given to us. We will calculate the amount of compensation. Goodwill is 3 lakh and the total gain is 1/6 only. So the goodwill is 1/6 into 3 lakhs. That comes to 50,000. And this 50,000 compensation is payable equally by X and Z. That is 25,000 each, and Y will get 50,000 as compensation. Clear? So you can write this down. Solution to problem 3.